Delete all photos of us from social media. I don't want my ex to know I've moved on, she demanded. I replied, whatever you want. Then I found out she was still dating him. So I sent him the photos and disappeared. The next day, she called me furious after he threw her out. I said, I didn't post anything, and hung up. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. They say love is blind, but I think that's a cop-out. Love isn't blind. It just teaches you to look the other way. It convinces you that the red flags are just quirks, that the secrecy is just privacy, and that the gut feeling screaming at you to run is just your own insecurity acting up. I ignored every alarm bell Qley rang for 3 months. I ignored the phone that was always face down on the table. I ignored the fact that I'd never met a single one of her friends. I ignored the way she'd flinch if I posted a story of us on Instagram, begging me to take it down before anyone saw it. She told me it was for my protection. She told me her ex-boyfriend, Jason, was dangerous. He's obsessive, Ryan, she'd whisper, looking at me with those wide, terrified doe eyes that made me want to burn the world down to keep her safe. If he finds out I'm happy, if he sees I've moved on, I don't know what he'd do. He's crazy. He hacks my accounts. He stalks my friends. Please, just keep us between us for a little while longer. And like an idiot, I bought it. I felt like her protector. I thought I was being the good guy by respecting her trauma. I wasn't the protector. I was the placeholder. We had been dating for about 12 weeks, that intense, heavy, honeymoon phase, timeline where you spend every waking moment together. It was fast, sure. She practically lived at my apartment from the second week. Her toothbrush was in my bathroom. Her oversized hoodies were in my closet, and we had planned a road trip for the summer. It felt real. It felt like the start of something permanent. But the crack in the foundation appeared on a Tuesday evening, seemingly out of nowhere. We were sitting on my couch, watching a movie. I had my arm around her, and she was scrolling through her phone. I wasn't looking at her screen. I'm not that guy, but I felt her body tense up. She went rigid. She typed something furiously, then deleted it. Typed again. Then she locked the phone, threw it face down on the cushion, and stood up. I need a drink, she said. Her voice was tight, high-pitched. Everything okay? I asked, pausing the movie. Fine. Just work stress. She went to the kitchen and poured a glass of wine with shaking hands. I watched her from the living room. She wasn't just stressed, she was terrified. She kept glancing at the front door like the SWAT team was about to breach it. Qley, I said, standing up. Talk to me. What's going on? She took a long sip of wine, her eyes darting around the room before finally landing on me. She looked desperate. It's Jason, the ex, the stalker, the boogeyman. What did he do? I asked, my voice dropping an octave. Did he contact you? He's back, she said. He was working up north on the rigs, but he's back in town. He just texted my sister. He's asking about me. He's asking if I'm seeing anyone. So let him ask, I said, walking over to her. You're with me. If he has a problem with that, he can deal with me. No, she practically shrieked it. She put her hands on my chest, pushing me back slightly. You don't understand, Ryan. You don't know him. He's violent. He's unstable. If he sees us, if he sees proof, he'll come here. He'll slash your tires. He'll call your job. He'll ruin everything. I frowned. Let him try? I'm not scared of some jealous ex-boyfriend, Qley. I am, she cried. Tears were actually forming in her eyes now. I can't deal with the drama right now, Ryan. I just need him to calm down. I need him to think I'm still single and miserable so he leaves me alone. Once he sees I'm boring, he'll move on. He always does. She took a breath, wiping her eyes. Then she dropped the bomb. I need you to delete the photos. I blinked. What? The photos of us, she said, speaking faster now. The ones on your Facebook. The hiking trip album. The profile picture of us at the bistro. You have to delete them. All of them. I felt a cold prickle on the back of my neck. Qley, we've been dating for 3 months. Those are my memories too. I'm not erasing 3 months of my life because your ex is a psycho. Please, Ryan, she begged, grabbing my hands. It's not forever. Just for a few weeks until he leaves town again or loses interest. I don't want him to know I've moved on yet. It's for safety. Please. If you love me, you'll do this. I looked at her. She was trembling. If I said no, I was the asshole putting her in danger. If I said yes, I was erasing myself from existence. You want me to delete everything? I repeated slowly. Right now? Yes. Right now? Before he finds your profile. Please. I looked at her phone, still face down on the couch. Then I looked at her. Okay, I said. My voice was calm, but inside, something had shifted. The warmth I usually felt for her was rapidly cooling into something gray and suspicious. Whatever you want. I pulled out my phone. I opened Facebook. I navigated to the Us album. Watch, I said. She hovered over my shoulder, watching the screen like a hawk. I hit the 3 dots. Delete album. Confirm. Gone. I went to my profile picture. A shot of her kissing my cheek on a pier. Delete. I went to Instagram. The few posts she had allowed me to keep up. Archived. Deleted. Are they all gone? She asked, her voice shaking. Check for yourself, I said, handing her my phone. She scrolled through my profile for a solid minute. She checked my tagged photos. She checked my timeline. She was thorough. Too thorough. Okay. She exhaled, handing the phone back. Her entire demeanor changed instantly. The panic evaporated, replaced by a wash of visible relief. Thank you. You're amazing. I'm sorry to ask, I need to feel safe. She kissed me, but it felt performative. I'm going to go stay at my mom's place for the weekend, she said, pulling away. Just until the dust settles. I don't want him seeing my car parked here. Right, I said. Smart. I'll call you Sunday night, she said. She grabbed her bag. She had already packed it, I realized, and headed for the door. I love you, Ryan. Love you too, I lied. The door clicked shut. I listened to her footsteps fade down the hallway. I heard the elevator ding. I stood there in the silence of my apartment. The screen of my phone was dark. I don't want him to know I've moved on. The phrasing rattled around in my skull. Not, I don't want him to find you. Not, I don't want him to hurt us. But I don't want him to know. I unlocked my phone. I didn't go to Instagram. I went to the Photos app. Then I went to the recently deleted folder. Because I'm not a complete moron, and I know how technology works. I recovered everything. The hiking photos. The dinner dates. The selfies in bed. The video of her singing in my car. Then, I did the one thing she had successfully distracted me from doing for 3 months. I stopped searching for Jason based on the vague descriptions she gave me, and I started searching based on the digital crumbs she had dropped. She said he was working up north on the rigs. She said his last name was Miller. I went to Facebook. I typed in Jason Miller. Nothing. Too common. I tried Jason Miller plus her hometown. A few hits. I clicked the third one. The profile wasn't locked. It was wide open. And the cover photo wasn't an oil rig or a construction site. It was a photo of 2 people standing in front of a giant "Welcome to Cancun" sign. One was a guy, tall, athletic, wearing a backwards cap. The other was Qley. I checked the date on the photo. 5 months ago, before she met me. Okay, that tracked. Then I scrolled down to his timeline. Post from 2 hours ago. Finally landed. 12-hour flight from Dubai was hell, but so worth it to be back in the same time zone as my girl. Coming for you, babe. Hashtag homecoming, hashtag missed her. My stomach dropped through the floor. Dubai? She said he was on the rigs up north. I scrolled down further. Post from 3 months ago. Right when we started dating, hardest part of this contract is leaving this one behind. See you in 90 days, Qley. Keep the bed warm for me. Love you. There was a photo attached. It was Qley, kissing him goodbye at the airport terminal. She was wearing the same hoodie that was currently hanging in my closet. The timeline snapped into place with sickening clarity. Jason wasn't an abusive ex. Jason wasn't a stalker. Jason was her long-term boyfriend who had gone overseas for a 3-month work contract. And me? I wasn't the boyfriend. I wasn't the protector. I was the entertainment. I was the warm body she used to pass the time while the real boyfriend was away making money. And now, the contract was up. The 90 days were over. Jason was back. That's why she needed the photos gone. Not for safety, but to clean the crime scene. She was scrubbing the evidence of her affair before she went to her mom's house, which was definitely just Jason's apartment. I sat there on the couch, the glow of the phone illuminating the dark living room. I looked at the recently deleted folder I had just restored. 3 months of evidence. Timestamps. Geotags. Messages. Whatever you want, I whispered to the empty room. I stood up and walked to my laptop. I didn't feel sad anymore. The heartbreak had been severed instantly, cauterized by the sheer audacity of the disrespect. Now, I just felt precise. I opened a new folder on my desktop. I named it Welcome Home, Jason. It was time to give the man his welcome gift. Revenge is sloppy when it's emotional. It's loud, messy, and usually backfires. But justice? Justice is administrative. It's just filing the correct paperwork to the correct department and letting the system do the rest. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger implies I lost something of value. I hadn't. I had lost a fraud. Now, I was just an auditor conducting a very thorough review of the assets. I spent the next hour curating the Welcome Home Jason folder. I didn't just dump everything in there. I wanted a narrative arc. I wanted Jason to see the story clearly. I started with the dates. Exhibit A, a screenshot of Jason's Facebook post from November 12th. Missing my girl so much today. 60 days left. Exhibit B, a live photo from my camera roll, dated November 12th. It was a video of Qley dancing in my kitchen, wearing nothing but one of my t-shirts, holding a spatula like a microphone. The audio was clear as day. I'm so glad I met you, Ryan. You make me forget about everything else. The contrast was brutal. I kept digging. I found a photo of her wearing a silver locket. In my gallery, she was wearing it while lying on my chest. I cross-referenced Jason's timeline. Sure enough, a photo from October. Sent this to her for her birthday. Hope she likes it. She was wearing the gift he bought her while sleeping in the bed of the guy she was cheating on him with. That's a special kind of cold. I compiled it all. Screenshots of text threads where she told me she loved me. Geotagged photos of our weekend getaway to the cabin. Dates that overlapped with times she told Jason she was sick in bed with the flu and couldn't FaceTime. It was 47 files. 47 bullets in the chamber. I zipped the folder. Then, I went back to Jason's Facebook profile. I couldn't send the zip file directly through Messenger. It was too large, and the quality would be compressed. I needed him to see the 4K reality. So, I uploaded the folder to a Google Drive link. I set the permissions to anyone with the link can view. I clicked message on Jason's profile. I didn't want to sound like a crazy person. I didn't want to sound like a scorned lover. I wanted to sound like a man doing another man a solid. I typed, "Hey Jason, you don't know me, but I've been dating Qley for the last 3 months. She told me you were her crazy, abusive ex-boyfriend. Tonight, she made me delete all our photos because she said she was afraid of you finding out she had moved on. I did some digging and realized you aren't an ex, and you aren't crazy. You were just away working. She asked me to scrub the internet of us, but I figured you deserved to see what she was actually doing while you were gone. Welcome home, man." I pasted the Google Drive link below it. I hovered over the send button. I looked at the clock. It was 7:45 p.m. Jason had landed 2 hours ago. By now, Qley's mom's house, aka Jason's apartment, was probably full of reunion energy. Gifts being exchanged. I missed you hugs. Maybe they were ordering takeout. She was probably feeling so safe right now. She thought she had successfully erased me. She thought she had pulled off the perfect heist. I clicked send. The little check mark appeared. Sent. I closed the laptop. I didn't pack a bag. I didn't leave the apartment. I simply walked over to the closet, took her 3 hoodies, her toothbrush from the bathroom, and her face creams, and I put them into a single black trash bag. I tied it shut and set it by the front door. Then I sat down, poured myself a glass of the wine she had opened earlier, and I waited. I blocked her on Instagram. I blocked her on Facebook. But I left my phone number unblocked. I needed to hear the impact. 1 hour passed. Then 2. I started to wonder if he had seen it. Maybe it went to his message requests folder. Maybe he was too busy with her to check his phone. At 10:42 p.m., my phone lit up. It wasn't a text. It was a call. Caller ID, Qley. I took a sip of wine. I let it ring 3 times. I wanted her to sit in that panic for a few extra seconds. On the 4th ring, I answered. "Hello. You ruined my life." The scream was so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. It wasn't just anger. It was the hysterical, guttural screech of an animal caught in a trap. In the background, I could hear wind. Cars passing. She was outside. "Calm down, Qley," I said, keeping my voice deadpan. "What's the problem?" "You know what the problem is, you psychopath," she screamed. I could hear she was crying. Ugly, gasping sobs. Jason threw me out. He threw me out on the street. He locked the door. He has all my stuff. "Sounds like a rough night," I said. "Why did you do that?" she shrieked. "You promised. You looked me in the eye and promised you would delete the photos. You said, whatever you want. I trusted you, and I kept my word. I said. Check my Facebook. Check my Instagram. Is there a single photo of us left? You sent them to him. You didn't ask me not to send them to him. I replied, leaning back on the couch. You asked me to delete them from social media so he wouldn't know you moved on. I figured that was a lie, since he's not your ex. So I sent him a backup. I thought he'd appreciate the clarity. He smashed my laptop, she wailed. He saw the video, Ryan. The one in your kitchen. He saw everything. He called me a whore and threw my suitcase on the sidewalk. Jason sounds like a man of decisive action, I said. I respect that. Stop talking like that, she yelled. Stop acting like you don't care. You loved me this morning. How could you do this to me? I'm on the street, Ryan. It's freezing. I have nowhere to go. My mom lives 3 hours away. She paused, her breathing ragged. I could hear the gears turning in her head. The manipulation tactic was shifting. She was pivoting from anger to pity. Ryan. Her voice softened, breaking into a sob. Please. I was scared. I was confused. I didn't know how to tell you. But I was going to leave him. I really was. These last 3 months with you, that was real. You know it was real. It wasn't real, Qley, I said. It was an audition. And you failed. Don't say that, she pleaded. Please. Can I come over? Just for tonight? I can't stay on the street. Please, Ryan. If you ever cared about me at all, don't leave me out here. I looked at the black trash bag by my door. You can't come up, I said. Ryan, please. But, I added, I have some things of yours. Hoodies. Toothbrush. I'm going to put the bag in the lobby. The doorman knows you're coming to get it. He also knows not to let you up the elevator. You can't be serious, she whispered. You're just going to discard me like this? I'm not discarding you, Qley, I said. I'm just deleting you. Like you asked. I will ruin you. The anger snapped back instantly. I will tell everyone you abused me. I will tell everyone you hacked my phone. Go ahead, I said. But remember, I still have the Google Drive link. And I have the emails of everyone in your office. And your mom. And your sister. So if I hear even a whisper of a lie, I hit send all. Do we understand each other? Silence. Just the sound of wind blowing into her phone microphone. Do we? I pressed. Go to hell, she spat. Already been there, I said. It was dating you. I hung up. I stared at the phone for a second, then blocked her number. I walked to the door, picked up the trash bag, and took the elevator down to the lobby. I handed the bag to the night shift concierge, a guy named Marcus who I tipped well at Christmas. If a girl named Qley comes by, I said, give her this. And Marcus? If she tries to get up to my floor, call the cops. You got it, Mr. Reynolds, Marcus said, taking the bag. He looked at me, then at the bag. Trouble? Not anymore, I said. I went back upstairs. I sat on my couch. My apartment was quiet. It was clean. It was empty. For the first time in 3 months, I felt completely at peace. The silence that follows a hurricane is the most expensive thing in the world. It costs you everything to get it, but once you have it, you realize it's worth every penny. 3 months passed. I didn't hear from Qley directly. The block button works wonders for your mental health. But we live in a digital age. Nobody ever truly disappears unless they want to. And Qley was the type who needed to be seen to exist. Through the grapevine of the few mutual acquaintances we shared, people I had met maybe twice while we were dating, I got the highlights of her downfall. It was a slow-motion car crash. Jason hadn't just dumped her. He had evicted her from her social circle. The guys on the rigs, the hometown friends, the families, they all saw the evidence. When you have 4K video proof of betrayal, there are no two sides to the story. She was radioactive. She tried to spin it, of course. She posted vague, sad quotes on her Instagram stories about toxic men and invading privacy. She tried to paint me as a hacker and Jason as a tyrant. But nobody bought it. The silence from her usual hype squad was deafening. As for me, I got a promotion at work. I started lifting heavy again. I slept 8 hours a night. I realized that the anxiety I had felt during those 3 months with her wasn't passion. It was my subconscious screaming at me that I was sleeping next to a liar. I thought I would never see her again. I hoped I wouldn't. But this is a small city, and karma has a sense of humor. It was a Tuesday afternoon, ironically similar to the day she imploded our relationship. I was sitting in a coffee shop downtown, laptop open, finishing up some work. I looked up to grab my Americano, and there she was. She was standing at the counter, ordering. She looked diminished. The Qley I dated was always polished. Hair perfect, makeup flawless, designer clothes that I now realize Jason probably paid for. This Qley looked tired. Her roots were grown out. She was wearing a hoodie that looked 2 sizes too big, and not in a cute, oversized way, in a laundry day way. I looked back down at my screen, intending to just ignore her. The ghost protocol. But she turned around, coffee in hand, and scanned the room for a seat. Her eyes swept over me, moved past, then snapped back. She froze. I didn't move. I just looked at her over the rim of my cup. For a second, I thought she would run. Instead, her shoulders squared. That familiar look of entitlement, the one she used when she demanded I delete the photos, crept back onto her face. She walked over to my table. "Ryan," she said. Her voice was brittle. "Qley," I replied. I didn't close my laptop. I didn't offer her a seat. "You look happy," she said, the words dripping with a mixture of sarcasm and genuine hurt. "I am," I said simply. She stood there, awkwardly holding her paper cup. People were starting to glance over. She noticed the audience and lowered her voice, leaning in. "Do you have any idea what you did to me?" she hissed. I sighed. "Qley, we aren't doing this." "No, we are doing this," she snapped. "You destroyed my life. I had to move back in with my parents. I lost my friends. Jason won't even speak to me to let me get the rest of my winter clothes. You took a sledgehammer to my entire existence because of what? Petty jealousy." I set my coffee down slowly. "Petty jealousy?" I repeated. "You used me as a placeholder for 3 months. You lied to my face every single day. You tried to make me an accomplice in gaslighting your actual boyfriend. And when the walls closed in, you tried to erase me like I was a glitch in your software. I was going to choose you," she whispered furiously, tears springing to her eyes. It was a good performance, but I'd seen the rehearsals. I was confused, Ryan. I was going to break up with him when he got back. I just needed time. If you had just waited, if you had just trusted me, we would be together right now. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized I felt absolutely nothing. No anger, no longing, no vindication, just boredom. "That's the thing, Qley," I said, my voice calm and level. "I don't want to be with someone who needs to choose me. I don't want to be an option. And frankly, looking at you now, I don't even know what I was fighting for." Her face went slack. The insult landed. "You're an asshole," she muttered. "Maybe," I shrugged. "But I'm an asshole with a clean conscience and a peaceful life. You're just tired." She opened her mouth to argue, to scream, to make a scene, but she stopped. She looked around the cafe. She saw a couple in the corner, holding hands. She saw me, sitting there in a nice button-down shirt, working on a career I loved, completely unbothered by her presence. She realized, in that moment, that she couldn't touch me. She had no leverage. She had no hold. She was just a stranger who owed me 3 months of my time. "I hope it was worth it," she said, her voice trembling, losing its fight. "Sending those photos. I hope it felt good." I thought about the Welcome Home Jason folder. I thought about the text I had received from a number I didn't know 3 days after the breakup. It was just a screenshot of a whiskey bottle and 2 words, "Thanks, bro." It didn't feel good or bad, Qley, I said. It just felt fair. I turned my attention back to my laptop screen. "Goodbye." She stood there for another 5 seconds, waiting for me to look up again, waiting for me to crack, waiting for the "I still miss you" that was never coming. When I started typing, ignoring her completely, she finally turned and walked away. I didn't watch her leave. I finished my work. I drank my coffee. And when I walked out of the shop into the crisp afternoon air, I didn't check over my shoulder. I didn't wonder where she was going or who she was texting. I took a deep breath. She had asked me to delete the photos so her ex wouldn't know she had moved on. In the end, I did exactly what she asked. I deleted the photos. I deleted the texts. I deleted the drama. And most importantly, I finally, truly moved on. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.